the midst of what appears to be a colossal and history-making blackout.
People trapped in elevators and buildings. They have activated the emergency command center.
You're staggering, trying to take in as much information as you can.
Mayor Bloomberg's advice is to go straight home.
The subway system is down.
Ottawa is completely without power now.
The lightning-quick domino series of failures.
Gotta go to the bathroom and you can't even go nowhere.
50 million people are thought to have lost power.
A power outage in Annapolis still has many people talking this morning. That's because it created a light show in the sky, and some are wondering, is it the end of the world?
Hi, I'm Lance Echts, proprietor of the Woodsman Shop. Today we're going to talk about lighting your off-grid residence or lighting your on-grid residence when there's no electricity, when things have gone out. Just the other night here in Bonners Ferry, we had quite a windstorm. A lot of power got knocked out. A lot of people didn't have a light. You might dig into your closet or your drawer and find the old mag light with a couple of dead D cells in it. Or what if an EMP goes off? What if something crazy happens? There's a lot to be said for simple, old-fashioned technology. I'm talking about kerosene lamps. What I have in front of me, the Aladdin Model 23, the Cosmos Model 14, these are the perfection of the kerosene lamp. When I say perfection, this is the ultimate culmination. This is as far as they've gotten. That said, this one was perfected back in the late 1800s. There's really been no improvement since then. This was perfected and invented in the early 1900s. We got electricity, the rural electrification of America, and with that, there was been no more development, and I don't know if there could have been. These were pretty much perfect back then, and they work just as good today as they did 100 years ago. The great thing is you don't have to try to find some old beat-up lamp and get it running. These are still made brand new today. The Aladdin is currently made as we speak. The Cosmos, made in France, just the same way as it always has been. So two very different lanterns, they both lamps, they both burn kerosene. For people not familiar with lamps, I'm going to kind of start with the basics here. Since most of us have heard of the Aladdin lamp, let's start out taking a look at this one. The Aladdin lamp comes with or without a shade. A shade is great if you're going to use it for reading, or if you're all going to sit around the table and you don't want to be blinded. This is a pretty bright lamp. It burns about the same as a 40-watt incandescent bulb. So if you're going to utilize the light that beams down from here to read, that's a great way to do it. If you're going to have this in the center of a table as a focal point where everybody can gather around, this will keep you from getting blinded because it's pretty bright. So a shade is something I would recommend getting with an Aladdin. So the Aladdin uses a wick similar to this one right here, and the wick would go right about that level inside the lamp. The wick is not what produces the light. You light the wick and it produces heat, and then that heat travels up, and then there's what's called a mantle, and you can see it right here. So the mantle sits over that. As that heat goes up, the mantle becomes illuminated by the heat. It burns very bright. It's a very clever design, similar to a mantle that you would see in an old propane gas street lamp or something like that. The advantage to the Aladdin lamp is that it burns really bright. It's like a 40-watt incandescent bulb. We have one of these in our off-grid residence. I highly recommend everybody have one. They're not economical, but boy, they're nice. They burn bright. They give off a lot of heat. Nothing you really want to burn in the summertime, but when it's cold, when it's winter, when you want to have something warm and cozy, or you might have a cold spot in a particular part of the room and you want to get a little bit of extra heat there, it's just a beautiful thing. The disadvantage of an Aladdin is that the mantle itself is something that you're going to use 3 or 4 of. They're kind of fragile, so figure over the course of one burning season, 1 year, you're going to probably go through 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these, and they're not cheap. They'll run you probably about 12 bucks a piece. The wick is even more expensive. They're nearly 20 bucks, and again, you're going to probably burn 1 or 2 of these each year, so it's not an inexpensive lamp to run, and also uses quite a bit of kerosene. You're going to fill it up. If you burn it for 2, 3, 4 hours a night, you can figure on filling it up every half a week or maybe once a week, just depending on how often you burn it. They're easy to fill up. You just unscrew this right here, pour your kerosene in. So those are the advantages and disadvantages. For the disadvantages, I'd still say get one. They're awesome. Now I'm going to show you something that is a little more cost effective, a little more practical to use for every day, and that is the Cosmos. As I mentioned, this lamp was perfected in the late 1800s, and they're still made today just the same way. They're extremely efficient, extremely wonderful little lamps. The Cosmos lamp is a very efficient and bright little lamp, much more cost effective to run every day than the Aladdin. We burn a couple of these in our house just about every night. In the summertime, it'll give off some heat, so it might not be the best thing to burn, but if it's a chilly summer night like we get here in Bonners Ferry, we burn these in the summertime all the time as well. It's very efficient. This is a 24-ounce font right here. It'll hold 24 ounces of kerosene. With that, you can burn this for about 18 hours. The other great thing about the Cosmos is that this is the only part that wears out. This is a simple flat wick. Unlike the Aladdin, where you've got a kind of a complex expensive wick and then a complex expensive mantle, with the Cosmos, this is it. This will probably run you about $5 for one of these wicks. You can figure on burning this thing for at least one heating season, at least 1 year. I've never replaced the wick on ours. It really doesn't wear out that quick, and it's cheap enough you can keep a bunch of these around. What's cool about this lamp is that when you put the wick in, it's a flat wick, but it goes in and turns into a circular wick. A circular wick allows for a much more efficient design because the air will flow up from the center. We'll light it up and you can see how it burns. That's what keeps the cost down. The disadvantage of the Cosmos is that it is not as bright as the Aladdin. The Aladdin's probably going to be twice as bright. This has the brightness of maybe a 15 watt or 20 watt incandescent bulb. But if you were to burn two of these at the same time, you'd have the same level of brightness of an Aladdin, and it would still be less expensive. It would still be significantly less expensive to run two of these at the same time than to run one of these. So there's a place for all of these. We burn a couple of these around our house. It provides a lot of light. You can get one of these with a shade, and that would be a nice little reading lamp. I usually use them without a shade, and two of these will illuminate a small room, and it gives you this wonderful glow. We'll light this up in a little bit. You guys can take a look at it. Very simple to operate. The Aladdin is a little more complicated. You gotta light it, you gotta adjust it. It's a little bit finicky. As far as lighting up the Cosmos, it's quite a bit easier than the Aladdin. The Cosmos, you simply pull the chimney out, light the wick right there, turn it down a little bit, put your chimney back on, wait a few minutes after it's warmed up, and then you turn it back up and you're good to go. I should note that the chimneys on these are also very inexpensive. The stock factory chimney made in France, a type of Pyrex glass, very high quality chimney. Not the one that I have on it right now, but the one it normally comes with is very similar. Those are inexpensive. They'll run less than $10 for a chimney. Chimneys on the Aladdin, they're pretty durable, the modern ones, but they're not cheap. They're going to run around twice as much as what the chimney for this costs. This particular chimney that I'm using right now is available by Miles Stair. He has these custom made, and it's a special chimney that'll give a little bit more lumens than the stock chimney. But the stock chimney works fantastically as well and is much less expensive than this one here.